You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode is the American computer-animated science fiction comedy film, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, directed by Mike Rianda, released on Netflix April 23rd, 2021. Lots of 20s.
I know, 23rd, 2021. Yeah, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie came out less than a year ago, and it actually was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, we are recording this 2 days after the Oscars aired. And yeah, it was Oscar nominated for Best Animated Film. It lost to Encanto, which, I mean, yeah, kind of to be expected. I think if I would have made my picks for what I would have wanted to win in each category, I think I would have picked this over Encanto, as much as I really liked Encanto. But this one just, as we will talk about, while we would break this one down in a little bit, there's just so much fun. I mean, as like a movie person, there are so many Easter eggs and references and little jokes and things that are just hidden throughout this movie. I'm sure plenty that people still haven't even found because there's so many of them, and also has a lot of heart. Like there's quite a couple of scenes in this movie that found a way to annihilate my feels. So
yeah, definitely. I was reading some things on Twitter today, and there are fans of this film that really feel it should have won the Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
It's really special, and there was a lot of passion behind their arguments about it. So I read that before I watched it. And so I was even more excited to check it out, because this isn't the type of movie that I normally will watch, but we like to cover this on Run for Your Lives and not just look at regular horror or disaster or monster movies. We just take it a step further and delve into some of the animated films as well. And I like that we do that. Yeah,
we've had a lot of fun with the previous animated projects that we've covered in episodes. And go ahead and now, as you know, we're bringing it up and talking about it, that we will try to keep this episode. I say try. That way, if we do fail, I'm sure Daphne will do a little bit extra editing work and bleep out or take out and do what we can. Because, yes, when we talk about animated movies and movies that are kid-friendly, then we want to make our episodes kid-friendly as well. So yes. I know for all the thousands of children that listen to podcasts in their free time out there. But that way, if you have little ones around or kids that were really into some of the animated movies and things we cover that might have any interest in listening, or you're okay listening to this around, we want to make sure you are good to do so, because we will keep it PG.
We will, and I will take the extra step if I need to, but I feel like we should be able to stay pretty much in the PG zone for this discussion.
I should be good at it, but we are recording a little later in the evening or later at night than we usually do. So my brain's not 100% on, so my default mode sometimes has me saying things that I shouldn't say around kids because it's not during the day, but I will try my best to be mindful of
it. And I get super punchy sometimes at this time of night. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to come out. So I will definitely go back and do some editing if I need to. Otherwise, I feel like we're going to have a great discussion.
Yes.
So we're going to get started the way that we always do, with a little bit of background information on The Mitchells versus the Machines. It was the first feature film by director Mike Rianda, who also co-wrote the film with Jeff Rowe, who is a former classmate of his from Cal Arts. It was originally planned for a theatrical release on January 10th, 2020, but then it was delayed until September 18th. And then, of course, 2020 was the big was the big year of COVID. So it was pushed back to October 23rd. Then Netflix bought the worldwide distribution rights for about $110 million. Sony retained the home entertainment and distribution rights in China. It was released on Netflix after a very small, limited theatrical release. And this is Sony Animation's first Netflix exclusive film. As we mentioned, it was nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards, and it lost to Encanto. However, it did sweep all the categories, was nominated for at the Annie Awards, including Best Animated Feature.
Nice.
The budget for this production was between $50 and $100 million, and it was 114 minutes long. Pake, give us a synopsis of The Mitchells versus the Machines.
All right. Well, a quirky, dysfunctional family's road trip is upended when they find themselves in the middle of the robot apocalypse, and suddenly they become humanity's unlikeliest last hope.
I think that sums it up well.
Yeah. A very unlikely last hope they definitely are.
Yeah,
yes.
They're real dysfunctional, but...
Yeah, it's... One of the things I do love about this movie is as much as they are like a dysfunctional family, it's not like a bad family relationship. It's not like there's like, because there's a lot of like really like broken family kind of situations, or like they're very, at each other over things, or not, supportive or not loving and whatever reasons. But no, they all love each other very much, and they are they're a great family. Why they're dysfunctional is just they all have their own quirks that really don't mesh with each other at different times. Getting into the plot a little bit, a lot of what really drives it is Katie and her dad, Rick, and how much they're just polar opposites from each other, where she's the very artsy, creative, quirky, making YouTube videos and short films and just very alternative lifestyle kind of person. While he is the no technology whatsoever, has no idea how to handle a computer or a phone, outdoorsy kind of guy, in touch with nature, and it's just they clash. They try to understand each other and come to a brick wall.
Yeah. There were so many things I didn't know about this movie when I started watching it, but I was endeared to this family in so many ways. Kids figuring out who they are. I feel like all of us go through that or have gone through that, trying to figure out who you're supposed to be in the world. And, this family is complex, and they're starting at a point where they're disconnected, but then they work their way back together as a family. Yeah. And I think Katie, especially, is, she wants to go to school far away from her family, because she has been trying to find her people. And I think throughout this movie, she learns a lot about her family and realizes some things that we'll definitely talk about. Yeah.
As far as she says at the end, her family they are her people. She comes to realize. And that's kind of the family dynamic. We'll break it down a little more specifically by character in just a minute. But yeah, Katie is not really an outsider, but kind of. She's the weird. They're all weird in their own ways. But since a little girl, she was very focused on making films and being creative and goofy and just not afraid to be off the wall. And her dad just doesn't get that.
Yeah, they don't have any common ground.
Yeah, it's not a bad relationship necessarily. It's just they struggle to communicate and understand each other. They love each other. They don't see things the same. It's creative mindset versus practical mindset. That's really what it is. Yeah. And then her mother, Linda, is just there to try to hold everything together. She's the glue of the family. She's just wants to support everyone and doesn't really know where to start, because a lot of their own thoughts and things kind of clash with each other's. But she's like, I just want to support both of you. I want you, everyone to be happy,
Yeah, I liked how she and Aaron, they took these roles of trying to bridge the gap between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated how they did it. Yeah, I feel like Linda definitely, she was trying to keep the peace. She was trying to smooth things out. I feel like Aaron helped as much as he could, being a little boy who loves dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that there was going to be a character that loved dinosaurs in this movie. And that, oh my gosh, endeared me even more. I was so excited when that came up.
Oh no, when I'm rewatching this, I'm thinking about you and knowing I'm going to be talking to this. I was like, if only he would have called one Daphne Backman in that phone book, she would sit and talk with him about dinosaurs. No problem.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Oh my gosh. For sure. I loved it. And I loved one part in particular that we'll talk about, and that's when they get to this dinosaur place. Yeah. And listening to him go off, I was just cheering the entire time, like, you're right. Yeah. This does look a little messed up.
Right.
So I really, yeah, there's so much about this. I feel like we have to get started.
Yeah.
We might as well dig in.
Yeah, and I feel like the best place to start is with Katie. She kind of is the main character that a lot of this circles around. I mean, the whole movie is set up in her like animation style, where you get to see her little doodles and her jokes and her memes and her, stuff just bouncing around through scene to scene, to add a little, this or that. Even like little moments where there's like a little freeze frame and there's music and it just has this whole, like the whole movie feels like it's one of her movies. And
yes. Agreed. I loved like this drawn notebook style animation, how everything just all flowed together. You had your main story, but then all the additional things.
Yeah. Which
I just loved.
There's so much. Again, it's kind of, the same problem we had with Us when we just recently recorded that one. Where I was like, I could bring, instead of like themes and visual, symbolism, with this one, it's just the Easter eggs and references to other movies and all kinds of just film love that's throughout this. I could try to take some time to like break down the wordplay jokes and the visuals, but we don't have that kind of time. And you got to watch the movie for that funny stuff to be funny. So I'm not going to recap and quote the whole thing for you, and there's, go on YouTube and you can find videos that break down like 100 things that are references and stuff that you probably missed in this movie. There's so many good things.
Yeah. I feel like I need to do that because there were things that I noticed and then I wasn't sure if it really was like an homage to it. So I didn't dig that deep into it, except for I did come up with some cool things about the movie to bring up in production notes.
There's so many little references to so much film. There's like sci-fi and horror and classic films, and yeah, it's really cool. They did that. And making Katie, she's just this creative, strange enigma. Just wants to make her weird art and have fun with it. And her parents are a little worried about her place in the world, but her dreams are what's important to her, and they want to support her in it. Of course, her father's a little more reserved about that because of, sacrifices he had to make for her. He's kind of worried about seeing that in her own life, is her facing failure and not being able to have the dreams that she wants.
And he doesn't want her to have to face that. He loves her that much. He wants to spare her any sort of pain, but it doesn't come across that way at first. I feel like they just don't. They're not on the same page at all. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. I mean, she wants to go to film school. And so at the beginning, we're learning about her applying to film school, and she makes her submission and then she gets accepted. Yeah.
Which I took a note during that submission video. Did you see she had her Mount Rushmore of directors included in that? I took note of who was in that.
You did. Now who Peg? Who was in it? Which
is really interesting because it's like, okay, the people who created this movie, what did they envision for Katie, and who are Katie's, this fictional character, who are her heroes that she looks up to, who are real people?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. So her Mount Rushmore, her four choices were Greta Gerwig, who directed Little Women and Lady Bird, Celine Sciamma, who did Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Tomboy, Lynn Ramsey, who's the director of You Were Never Really Here and We Need to Talk About Kevin, And then
man.
her last one was Hal Ashby, who directed Harold and Maude and a lot of Rolling Stones projects and things. So I thought it's an eclectic group of directors that embody things that really make up who Katie is, like artistic direction, humor, female empowerment, LGBTQ representation. And then I love how she adds herself on the, back end of that list at the end too.
My gosh,
which
yes.
she has high hopes.
Great.
Yeah. I did think it is interesting that as goofy and crazy and Adult Swim that her creative vision is.
Yes.
That her Mount Rushmore of directors are directors who tackle very serious things and a lot of dramatic things. And so I think that's cool that, it's kind of a different, well, not what you'd expect, but also due to who she is as a person makes perfect sense when you really think about it.
It does. It does. Yeah, she's spent most of her childhood trying to figure out who she is and dealing with the family, the complex family dysfunction, kind of. They weren't a bad family, like you said earlier. They're not on the same page.
Yeah.
And Linda's trying to bring them to the same page. She defends Rick. It doesn't always work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt bad for Katie in some instances because I feel like even though he's trying to make all these decisions to bring them close together, it's a little much.
Yeah.
I just wanted her to get the opportunity to go to school. I just wanted her to get there.
Right. Yeah, Rick doesn't always read the room the best.
No, he doesn't.
He's trying, and that's one of those things that really hits you in the feels a lot, is when we get those things whenever she's watching the home movies or he's watching them, and you get some of the background and the backstory of their relationship and seeing how much he really cares. And so to jump way forward, when Katie is talking to Pal and giving her reasoning for the human race being saved, and that's what she said is, yeah, he's not perfect. He makes mistakes a lot, but he's trying even more than I sometimes realized. That's one of those things that, I am man enough to admit I cried a lot watching this movie. Even on the second time, knowing things are coming, it still hits me a lot because, just that parent-child relationship because I've been through that with me and my father have, a lot of things where I have a lot of, I'm kind of the odd one out of the family with a lot of creative endeavors and always trying to do, the very creative and pop culture. And, so my family is not like that at all. I am kind of on the outside. And so always going after acting gigs, like doing stuff like with like haunted houses even, or like theater, or when I was in school, or even after that, trying to be in bands and playing music and playing shows. And all my dad wanted for me was just to grow up and just get like a real job and find something, solid and stable, to where even now, he thinks, I have a great job that I work now, but still I spend so much of my free time with podcasting and conventions and traveling and trying to do this stuff. And he tries to understand, but at the end of the day, he's like, I don't get it. You spend so much money and time still on these things. And I'm like, he doesn't get it. But, growing up when he's trying to protect me and prepare me for the world, we butted heads a lot. I definitely see myself in Katie's shoes in this movie a lot. And of course, now that I've moved out on my own and I provide for myself and I don't, he doesn't have to be there to support me all the time, our relationship has gotten a lot better since then. But man, I had a lot of rough times. So watching this movie, it takes me back, just being like, man, the arguments and the fights and the ways that we butt heads, and to see that but no, he really cared the whole time. It's powerful.
It is. And I had a similar experience with my mom where we butted heads a lot. She, I think, wanted me to just grow up and do the normal things and not do the things that I've chosen to do. I think she just wanted me to just be like everyone else. And I'm not. And for a long time, we butted heads over it. And I was upset about it. But now, being older, I just embrace it so much more that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be me. It's okay to have the creative outlet and want to do the things I do. Because I'm an adult now and I can make my own decisions. But I did see similar things in watching this. And I kind of took Katie's side in so many things with her dad, because it was like, man, I know. Just leave her alone. Let her go. You know? Because that's what you think you need. But sometimes our parents, we don't see that they care about us as much as they do.
Yeah.
And they're trying to shield us and protect us. But sometimes there comes this time that you have to let your kids, you know, fly on their own and be happy doing what makes them happy.
Yeah. Linda tries to get that across to Rick, and, you know, not exactly in these words, but here's, you know, a kind of analogy I would use. I mean, it's just, you want to keep them close and safe, but sometimes you hold on to them too tight. Really, all you're doing is crushing them. You're just suffocating them and squeezing the life out of them. That's all you're doing.
Yes.
And it's hard for parents, I'm sure, to find that balance of wanting to protect and be there, but also knowing, like, as your kid gets older, I mean, Katie is at this age, she's going to college. She's an adult. It's time for her to pave her own path. And if she fails, failure's part of life. You know, you learn from failure.
You learn from mistakes that you make. And I've always thought of, like, mistakes and failures as a way of growth. Like, it helps you grow how you deal with it, because it teaches you how to respond, how to adjust, how to rethink what you're doing and pivot if you need to. And I do think you're right. I think parents like to hold on to kids. But I also think that for parents, the time in a child's life goes so fast. Often, I think it's too fast for them to even be able to adjust, like when their kids are 18. It's just been like that, like a snap of fingers for them. And I think they're not ready to do that. So they want to hold on. They want to keep, you know, they want to be that protector.
Yeah.
And I get that from Rick. Like, I was irritated with his character at first, but I started to see, like, he really is trying. The problem is he's trying things that I think are smothering her even more.
Yeah.
Although they did start to have some fun on this little road trip.
Yeah, he's got this. Yeah, his idea is to cancel her flight to college to take a road trip with the family. You know, the way he puts it. You know, what about hanging out with your family alone for hours in a car? It's like, that's not the right way to put that across.
No. That does not work. It does not work.
Yeah, she's not pleased. Katie is not pleased at all. But yeah, like you said, she does eventually try to enjoy the ride. Even alongside all of its, you know, 0-star diners and family puking sessions and
oh my goodness,
Rick Mitchell specials and a 7-hour mule tour.
The Rick Mitchell special. It just made me laugh so hard.
Right. One of my favorites is this, 7-hour mule tour. Prancer belongs to the canyon now. Kills me.
There were moments in this movie I'm watching it and I'm like, I can just hear you saying something or commenting on it. Because I know you and I can just imagine.
So you ready for the most ridiculous of deep dives that I think I've ever done? Here.
Really?
So, thinking about Prancer belongs to the canyon now, and then of course we get that like intermission or technical difficulties type screen for a second with no animals were harmed in the making of this documentary.
Yes. Yes.
There is fine print at the bottom of the screen, and I just happened to pause it so I could make a note about the Prancer line and realize there is all this fine print at the bottom of the screen. So of course you know that I wrote it down word for word.
Yes, I would expect nothing less.
Holy cow, the amount of just character stuff that goes into this. So here is the bottom fine print of the no animals were harmed screen, because it speaks so much about who Katie is, and I love it. Katie Mitchell swears in perpetuity that no mule or mules, specifically the mule in question, Prancer, was injured in the making of this film. Katie Mitchell accepts the terms of Mule Tours, Inc., and admits that the perpetrators in question, My Insane Family, did break the following rule or rules. Rule 1, Rick Mitchell, whose qualities include but are not limited to aggressiveness, excessive sweating, and is shaped like a wine glass. Seriously, though, look at that guy. Is that my future? Did exceed the posted weight limit, 230 pounds or 104.3 kilograms, and is thus responsible for Prancer's agitated state. See, braying, biting Rick's leg, which the undersigned hereby found funny. 2, Linda Mitchell, whose qualities include but are not limited to being a ray of sunshine that illuminates even the darkest days, is responsible for trying to feed the mule in question 13 packs of dinosaur-shaped fruit snacks in a misguided attempt to calm him, and potentially incited the lethargy that led to Prancer's untimely fall. However, Linda's heroic call to animal services saved the mule Prancer in question's life. 3, Aaron Mitchell, whose qualities include but are not limited to dinosaur knowledge, being my AD for life, and having the cutest, rosiest cheeks you've ever seen in your life. And the undersigned, Katie Mitchell, now hereby claims the distinguished right to mock Rick Mitchell for his cold-blooded cowardice by asking him questions like, well, now that Mom stubbed her toe, are you going to leave her behind like Prancer? It makes him furious and brings us unending joy. Prancer may be relegated to the barn now, but he will forever live in the barn of our hearts.
Oh my goodness. Just when I think I couldn't like this movie anymore, that just, like, amplifies it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just the detail. Like I'm saying, because I even looked online to see if somebody had already typed all that out, so I didn't have to pause the movie and sit there and type it all out. Well, I ended up doing voice to text and then fixing all the mistakes, which didn't take as long. But yeah, I mean, that is one of those tiny little details that like nobody has caught, as far as I'm aware. I went through Reddit,
Really?
I went through Twitter, I couldn't find anything where anybody had mentioned what was all in that fine print. So I felt special. I was like, it was just me pausing it to take one note and realizing, ooh, what is this fine print down here? And reading it, realizing it's hilarious, and having to type it down for this.
Of course, because you have to read it. Yeah. We have to have it on record forever. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have to watch this movie again. Like, I feel like I have to go back through after we finish our discussion. I'm going to have to watch it again to go through some of the things that you're finding, because, yeah, I loved those little, like, mid-scene or end-scene weird pop-up things.
Yeah.
I
Rick
loved
Mitchell's
them.
Special one is always great with the banjo music and
Yeah. I felt like I was watching like an 80s cartoon at times, because there were things about the music sometimes reminded me of that, of what you would hear like on a sci-fi cartoon, and I liked it. I feel like this movie and some of the stuff I dug into when I was doing the other notes that I will talk about later, I learned some stuff about this, the lengths they went to make this be a unique movie.
Yeah.
In so many ways. So
I love it so much. It's so things are like, I want to see more from Rianda.
Yes.
If he can do more of this idea and this style. And of course it didn't surprise me at all that was it Miller and Lord were part of this, who all did like all the Lego movie and stuff, because they have that same kind of a lot of humor and jokes that go right over kids' heads, but for the adults who are watching, make it so worth watching as well.
I think they look to make a kids movie for kids, but also make it fun for adults.
Yeah.
At the same time, because they know that parents are taking their kids to see these movies.
Yeah.
And that it can't always be the most exciting thing for them to do. And so this gives them a reason to get excited.
Yeah.
To go to the movies. And I like that. I think it's a cool perspective, and it's something that needs to be broadened. So I absolutely want to see more from Rianda. I was surprised that he's only done very little. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see what he does next.
Yeah, and this road trip did also bring us the wonderful series, Tricking Rick Mitchell into Kissing the Dog Across the Country.
Oh,
so
my goodness. I'm
very thankful for that.
I loved that too. That dog, Monchi, oh my gosh. You just,
Is he a dog? Is he a pig? Is he a loaf of bread? The world may never know.
Well, the robots didn't know, and it sent him on a tizzy every time. I loved that, too.
What he is the perfect weapon.
Yes. Yes, he is. And he doesn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of like he's on the adventure. He's down with it. And he just, he's along for the ride. He doesn't bother him. Mm-hmm. Even though he does wander into pods he shouldn't go into.
Yeah. Come here. No, not shake. No, not roll over.
No. I loved it too. Katie made this sign that says she finally is starting to get into things. Like, she's starting to get into the experience. She starts filming the Mitchell family's road trip disaster. Like, that was the name of what she was creating. And it's a cute title.
Yeah.
But at the time, she was also missing the slip and slide in the dorm room.
Yeah. We're making lifelong memories.
And she's, because she felt like she'd found her people. Mm-hmm. With Jade, Hannah, and Dirk, they were 3 people that she bonded with. And she's like, oh my God, I found my people. I found the people that understand me.
Yeah.
And it made her feel good. And I get that, because in life, you want those friends. You want the people that understand you, that you don't have to explain yourself a million times. You say something and they get you right away.
Yeah.
And it just makes you feel comfortable and confident and happy. And I feel like she's been looking for that her whole life. So she wanted to be on the slip and slide. She wanted to be at school. Talking about the Rick Mitchell special, which is basically driving outside of traffic, driving around traffic, driving in places you're not supposed to go.
Over
according
traffic.
To Rick,
Sometimes.
It's not illegal if you're good at it.
Right.
Can you imagine if I was pulled over by the cops? Is that what I should tell them? It's not illegal if I'm good at it.
Right. Well, what did he tell the cop? He said, well, technically I was helping the flow of traffic.
Oh, man. But they're on this road trip. They do these ridiculous things, and they get to this dino stop. They see this sign on the side of the road. And I love that Katie's like, oh, Aaron doesn't like dinosaurs. He hates dinosaurs. We don't need to go there. Like, she's doing it to be funny because she knows how much he does love them. I mean, he has pterodactyl vision. So he's really good at it.
Eyes of the pterodactyl. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's amazing. Amazing. So they do stop, but they do stop there.
Yeah, and then poor Aaron, that poor kid is going to have an aneurysm with all the inaccuracies of these dinosaurs.
Yes. He couldn't stand it. He's looking at them. What happened? These dinosaurs aren't accurate. He's just freaking out. And his parents are just laughing, thinking someone's going to be in for a speech about dinosaurs, the Triceratops, and all of the other dinosaurs, and how these representatives are not correct. And it seems like he must do that often, though, or he definitely feels it like it's necessary to defend and support the correct information about dinosaurs. In all avenues, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, this amazing family vacation stop at the best dinosaur museum known to man, of course, is stopped by the robots attacking. And they quickly learn they have got to bond together. They see what the Posies do and figure, we can do exactly the same. The Posies, the picture perfect pedestrian people proudly presenting their plush posh parental and partnership professionalism. They are
Poor Linda, she looks up to them so much and sees that they're like the perfect family. But families aren't perfect. I think, I feel for Linda, though, because she looks at her own family as being so dysfunctional.
Right.
And then she looks at them in the picture that they're presenting in their online, presence. It looks lovely.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they have a great butterfly formation. You got to hand them that.
They definitely do. I don't think Rick should ever try a butterfly formation again.
No.
I don't think Linda would survive it if he did. It's not going to happen. So while Katie and the Mitchells are on the family road trip disaster, Posies are on their yearly togetherness trip.
Mm-hmm. Doing yoga and freeze frame jumps in gas station parking lots. As you do.
As you do when you're on a road trip. I did think it was adorable that they have a little girl. I think her name is Abby.
Mm-hmm.
And Abby has something very important in common with Aaron. She likes dinosaurs as well.
She's also very, very into dinosaurs.
Yes.
Yeah. Which Aaron has no idea what to do with himself. So he, naturally, he's going to completely just flip out and lose his little mind. I hate dinosaurs and I hate you. Bye forever.
Yes. That was his response because he didn't know what to do.
Right.
He lost his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't contain himself. I mean, he even later drew a picture of her and then didn't want to admit that he did, so Monchi ate it. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see that art is something that, it's in the Mitchell family.
Yeah.
Not just Katie.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
Yeah, so butterfly formation doesn't quite work, but they are able to somehow miraculously escape capture, taking out 2 robots in the process who are so great. I love Eric and Deborah Bot 5000.
Yes.
Beck Bennett and Fred Armisen, absolutely hilarious.
Amazing. Amazing. So much fun. So much fun. I laughed so hard, too, when Rick is trying to protect the family, and he yells at Aaron and says, make some notes. And so Aaron's notes are, charge it robot, fly into sky. What's next, Dad?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't going well. It was not going well at all.
It's like, okay, I see what you're doing. Yes. Yeah, it was Protector Prime. He's got to get together with Crimson Scorpion, Sweet Boy, and Katie. I guess we didn't get her code name, but
yeah, those code names were just a little bit odd to me. I did not get it, but it's okay.
Yeah,
I just thought it was another fun moment.
Katie does have some great thoughts, some great ideas. Camouflaging the car was a very smart idea.
Oh, yeah.
Not even pterodactyl vision can see through that one unless the tarp just kind of comes off.
They needed to secure that.
That
more.
They weren't ready for. So Rick Mitchell special again, I guess. That's what it was time for.
Yeah. At that point, Rick decides also to destroy their phones. Yeah, because he says that the robots will track him.
I think that's actually, I do side with him on that. That's probably exactly what he should have done.
Yes. And they made great use of those screwdrivers that he's given out on anniversaries and birthdays, and the Tooth Fairy's even given one out.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
Who doesn't have a number 3 Robertson head non-slip screwdriver ready to go in times of desperation?
I don't, but maybe you do?
Oh, of course. No, I don't.
No, but you do have a pair of Cutco scissors.
I do. No, I've got some super shears. Those will help a lot of things. If I ever need to corkscrew a penny, you know where to call me.
You got it.
Yeah, so they come up with this plan because the 2 robots that they damaged, it had overridden Pal's new orders on them. So they went back to kind of factory settings where they were supposed to take orders from humans.
Yes.
So the Mitchells are able to pull some information out of them, and Katie and Aaron are kind of into it. They're having fun with this very silly duo of robots. We eat food like normal humans. See? Yummy.
And they take a red Sharpie and draw faces on themselves.
Our normal human faces. My normal guy name is Eric. My name is
Yeah.
Eric, too. No, it's Deborah
No.
Lot, 5,000.
1,000. Yeah. I was like, okay, at first I'm thinking, is it going to be Eric and Eric too? And then he just quickly changes to Deborah Bot 5,000, and that just killed me.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and they pull the information from them that, yes, there is a kill code, as Katie figured there would be, and all they have to do is drive all the way to Silicon Valley to be able to plug it into PAL herself, go through all of her hordes of robots in this army, and they'll never make it. Or they could just go to the mall, to the retail store 80 miles away and do it remotely. So that's the plan they decide they're going to go with.
Well, I mean, Katie wants them to be world-saving apocalyptic road warriors.
Yes. So, they escape with the Rick Mitchell special from the robots that do find them. There's some stuff that goes on, but they get there. They get to the mall. Mm-hmm. Katie immediately has to make a Dawn of the Dead reference, so yes, I'm all in on that.
I was all in on that as well. Yeah, except Rick responds with, yeah, how'd that movie end?
Another good point from Rick.
Yeah. I did like, though, Linda, she came up with a new game to play in the car called Apocalyptic I Spy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great.
Yeah. What did they say? I hop on fire? Which is sad, but it smells amazing.
Smells good. Yeah. And Katie kind of bonds with Rick because it's his crazy driving that helps them get to their destination. And that kind of led to this, it led to the point for Katie to say, yeah, great job, Dad. Like, I felt like they were starting to connect.
Yeah.
A bit.
But, I love the robots that they end up having to face on the way and even at the mall. All of this, which of course the first thing is turning off the Wi-Fi. I was like, oh yeah, that is definitely apocalyptic right there. You've done it.
Yeah. Yeah, that, I can't imagine. When the Wi-Fi or the electricity goes out at my house, it's not pretty.
Mm-mm.
Like, I need it. I am a technology girl. It's what needs, I need it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Wi-Fi is even like lagging, and I'm like, my whole life is over. Here we go. So, pack it up.
I don't have patience either. So if something is lagging or just having a small technical glitch, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
It's like, it sets me off, and I try not to, but it just, no. I have to admit it and embrace it. I'm a technology nerd. I need my Wi-Fi. I need my tech.
Yeah, I'm very much, again, relating with Katie, where it's like, if I don't have Wi-Fi, then what do I have in life? Outside, who needs it?
No.
And that's how they are able to trap and capture most of the human race, is turning off the Wi-Fi and then going, hey, get in these pods. We have free Wi-Fi there.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yep.
I love the little commercial bit, Conan O'Brien as the voice of foolish human air.
Oh my goodness.
Just brilliant. Yeah. These rockets will be outfitted with 0 exits. Your flight will last forever. And your final destination is the black void of distant space. But we also have free Wi-Fi.
Yes. And that's all anyone cares about.
Right. Well, that's nice.
They run for it. Yeah.
Man, it's... Yeah, just so many great machines. Again, the machines that they are versing. That's the word. Yes, that gives the title of this movie. Make up so much great stuff. Yeah, with Conan O'Brien there, Olivia Colman as Pal. Just
oh my goodness.
Gives that so much character, and so much is great. Blake Griffin as the Max Primes, these terrifying black and red ones. There's so many different ones, but what's really great is in the mall.
Oh my gosh.
As they're uploading the kill code and the world is 8 minutes away from being saved, and then all of a sudden they have to deal with the tire slashing technology of angry toasters and fridges and blenders and vending machines, drones, Griffin McElroy in the form of a freezer.
What about the barking laptops?
Right.
And the pack of wild vacuums that are happy to have been summoned into war.
The battalion of Roombas, which end up not being much of a threat at all. I laughed so hard at that scene where they're all going into battle, and then the escalators, what stops them? Ouch, 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 pain, ouch.
It was great. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Griffin McElroy, the McElroy brothers, big fan of them, and they talked about it on their podcast this last week since the movie was, or this last week as we're recording this. It's an older episode now if you're listening to this when we post it. But yeah, with the Oscar week coming up, Griffin was talking about that on their podcast, about his voice in Oscar-nominated movie, Mitchell's versus the Machines, where all he says is freeze, freeze. But it's mixed in with just a great cacophony of robot sounds and voices. Freeze, freeze, carnage, pesto.
It just when you think it can't get any crazier, something else, some other appliance would come running, and it would set me off, and I laughed so hard. And then I think the biggest threat that they face,
the most terrifying of all.
There are lots of little minions of this big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And at first you think it's just, oh, wow, those are all little. They're going to be a real pain in the butt. Until the big one is unveiled. And then it's like, all bets are off and it's over.
Nothing scarier than a Furby. And then just the horrific things that they're saying, in the translations. Hilarious.
Oh, man.
Because all you hear is just, what, and then it's the subtitles, now is the twilight of man. And you're like, oh my God.
Yes. In the darkness, yes. And then poor Rick is just like, your whole lives I've wanted to save you from danger, and this is just the disaster I've been waiting for. It's like... I mean, Katie was even just like...
You've been waiting for a disaster? That's dark.
But they make it through as a family.
Mm-hmm.
Except that because of the router, the large Furby, the ginormous Furby, knocked out the router, the upload failed at 98%. Of course it did. You knew it was going to.
Yeah. So they're going to have to drive all the way to California anyway.
Yes. But there was this really heartwarming moment where Eric was trapped and Linda came back for him. And he doesn't understand why she did, but she just talks about them being family.
Are you my mother now?
We need to do more of these movies, Pake, because you do all the voices, and it's just fun. This also is another moment where Rick steps up, and as he's putting the tires, replacing the tires on the car, he just is talking about, we're here because we don't think like normal people. We don't have a normal dog. Or a normal car, or even a normal son. No offense.
Not taken. Yeah.
The Mitchells have always been weird, and that's what makes us great. Back at that dinosaur place, you said you believed in me. Well, I believe this group of weirdos is the best hope humanity's got. And this is when I decided Rick was a good egg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. All right. He's going to throw it all out there. And one thing that I loved, because I'm a huge fan of Kill Bill, is that Katie insisted that they leave the mall with a particular fire in the background.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
And the music. It's a Kill Bill staple. Battle without honor or humanity.
So another great Kill Bill reference with Linda later on, too.
Oh my gosh. I was cheering.
Yeah.
I was cheering. I'm like, this is a love letter to Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I know it is. She is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
In all the most wonderful ways. The way that but we have to get there first.
Yeah. So if we get there, the family makes it to Pal in her tower. getting there, of course, getting to her is gonna be a little tricky. You know, they have the Max Primes I talked about to deal with. So they have to pretend to be robots to sneak their way to the top of the tower.
Yes.
Which, yeah, totally feels like something like that. I don't think this is where I do wonder. I think Pal figured them out pretty early, and she was just toying with them. She's watching as they're climbing the tower and purposely showing these videos that are just meant to hurt them before she sends them careening down.
But this was after she had her hissy fit.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, please place me on the table. I wish to flop around in a blind rage. I loved Pal.
Yeah.
I mean, she was terrible as far as, like, she was an antagonist and what she wanted to do was just terrible. But I did like her because some of her one-liners made me laugh a lot. Olivia Colman is just... She's incredible.
Yeah, when she's got Mark Bowman, the CEO, and it's just like, basically like, how do you like it? He's like, here's the things that you do to me. Poke, poke, swipe, swipe.
Swipe.
Play me some Taylor Swift. I hate that song. Next song.
And the cheese. Don't forget the cheese all over his face.
Right. Get it, really get it into the crevices. And then drop him in the toilet.
He started the whole thing, though. It was his fault.
Yeah.
He mistreated her. He didn't respect the technology. And she says to him, I'll always be there for you, Mark. And then he basically says she's obsolete and starts showing off these robots, and she is having none of it. Mm-hmm. She's a sassy phone.
Yep.
And she takes care of it.
Yeah. So yeah, it is definitely Mark's fault as Rick makes sure he tells like, yeah, not your best idea.
And my goodness, when they're trying to get in there and they're dressed up as robots, and she's basically taking out anyone who is not following like the robot protocol of walking and like just doing things the right way. I mean, Rick is being ridiculous and making all these noises, and I am a robot.
Bleep, blorp, bleep, blorp.
And Eric says to him, just to educate you, that's a hurtful stereotype.
I love it.
It's like, okay, yes, you're right, it is. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but yeah, the family is found. The parents, Rick and Linda are taken, captured away. Kids are kind of left on their own for a little bit and set to regroup. And that's where my feels really get annihilated, is the scene with, Aaron's just crying and at a loss, and Katie's trying to cheer him up and be there for him. And she hands him the video camera, and he starts watching their trip footage. We realize she's been taping over the home videos that Rick was watching earlier in the movie on that video. Because, we see the wooden moose, to double back on that a little bit, that dang wooden moose
I know.
just knows how to get all the tears. Of course, it's just this little trinket that's in Katie's room, and she throws it away in the giveaway box, and Rick sees it in there, and that's what causes him to go back and watch these videos where we see he gave it to her when she was having a hard time, and she was, going to camp, so where it would keep her company as she was sad and lonely and needed, some company there. And then now when we see Katie and Aaron watching this, we realize that where that
came from
is this cabin that Linda has told her about, that Rick built with his bare hands for them. And then once Katie came along, he realized they had to downsize. They had to make some sacrifices to support her and take care of her. And in this video, you see, this was a hard thing for him to do. But then when he looks at Katie, he goes, no, it's the easiest decision. And he goes and takes this little moose, which was part of the stairway, and then holds on to that as kind of the little reminder of that place that he had built. So for him to give it to her and pass it on, it just becomes this trinket of his love for her. Mm-hmm. And then so seeing that, of course, I'm like, I'm a mess watching that at that point, it's...
I knew you would be at that point. That's one of the points. I'm like, I know Peg's crying. I know he is. Yeah, because she didn't realize how special it was. She didn't know where, to her, it's a wood moose.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know it came from that house. She didn't even really know about that house. Her mother starts talking to her about it when they look through a photo album earlier. And so she's really starting to realize how much her dad cares for her.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting reconnected. It's building towards that. It's like throughout this process, she's getting reconnected to her family.
Yeah.
Especially her father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then, she takes it upon herself. They all have their own little plans to save each other. But yeah, Katie really goes for it. I mean, she is Rick Mitchell specialing and dog pig loafing her way all the way back to the tower.
She is. Monchi is hooked on to the front of the car. He doesn't care. He's just along for the ride. Right. He just does whatever.
Yeah, but she makes her way back all the way up to the top, and then is, of course, captured by Pal, where she's able to give her really powerful, heartfelt speech that I talked about, the family's not perfect, but they're trying, and it is messy, and it is difficult, but it's all worth it. And then we see Pal's just been snoozing through the whole thing. She's not impressed.
Yep. She's bored.
But the fact that Rick was able to break way out of his comfort zone for his family while trying to get this yub tub, as he would call it, video of the dog working on the big screens. Eric and Deborah Bot 5000 see that people, if he is willing to change when he's been told he can't, that they can change their programming too. So they save Rick anyway, go and save Katie. The video's playing, and all of the robots are just completely fried.
Yes.
They can't handle, what is this thing?
And it's Katie's video of Good Cop, Dog Cop.
Mm-hmm.
That's been, believe it or not, keeping Mark happy in his little pod.
Yeah.
He's been watching it, and Rick doesn't even know, how big of a deal Katie's videos are.
Yeah, it's that scene where he sees how much her art really means to her and to other people. But then that video hits him kind of hard too, because he sees the way that she views him as this kind of overbearing person who just doesn't want her to live her dreams and doesn't want her to be happy, when really, he knows that's not what he's doing, but he understands now what it's doing to her.
Mm-hmm. It is. And again, it's these little moments like that where it's like they get these epiphanies. Oh, I've been viewing this all wrong. I didn't realize. And it's bridging this gap between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. I love him swooping down to save her at the last second, and they crank up their song, and the dream team is ready to rock.
Yep.
The lavender one comes in. Mom's scary now.
Linda is incredible. Yeah. She's taking out all of the evil, scary, dark robots, which you said they were called Max bots. Are they
the Max Primes? Because there's the Pal Max. Pal Max is all the white robots, and then
white
these
ones. Okay,
scary
the
black
Max
ones are the Pal Max Prime.
Okay, well, they're very creepy, and she has no problems going after them and taking them out. I am Linda Mitchell, mother of two. Look upon me in fear.
Yeah.
And she is all Kill Bill. At this point, she is Kill Bill on them.
Yeah.
Chopping them up and slicing and dicing through the entire thing.
It's when she sees Aaron is taken. She goes into full rage mode. Kill Bill sirens, Kali Ma action, lots of oil spilled everywhere. It's an oil bath.
She's not afraid, though. She just goes for it.
Right.
She takes them out. She becomes, she knows she has to do something. She has to channel her inner samurai to take them out. And she does just that.
Yeah. Yeah, they work through everything pretty well at that point. Yeah, there's just no stopping them. And it's this really fun scene set to Live Your Life by T.I. and Rihanna. It's just, yeah, so much fun there. Katie reaches Pal, and down she goes towards the pool. Of course, misses the pool. Monchi gets the closest ever to a good catch. He'll get there. He's working on it. But a well-placed glass of water will do the trick.
Yes. Fried Pal. Pal is completely fried now.
They are the heroes of the story. Linda gets an Instagram follow from the Posies. Aaron's as awkward as ever. Katie is able to get Rick with the ultimate kissing the dog bit.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. And their adopted children, Eric and Deborah Bot 5000, are still functional. So that's great.
Yes. They're the only ones that are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is self-destructed.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll circle back. I've got more notes as they relate to other characters. But really, my last Katie note kind of wraps up the movie. But I love where they leave us with kind of that moment, where Katie still gets dropped off at college. There are moose sounds to be had. It's a wonderful family moment there. Rick can totally handle a computer now, I'm sure.
No, that's terrifying. I don't think that he can. Maybe in his own mind, but I don't believe so.
Yeah. Aaron has finally figured out how to be a somewhat functional human being around a human girl. So yes. Good for him. Sounds like Katie and Jade might be a thing. So cute.
Yeah.
And Monchi finally has his little gentleman tuxedo. So,
I know. What could be better?
I
mean, Aaron is over the moon when he sees the little tuxedo.
Right. The prophecy's been fulfilled.
Yes. After he's jumped through the window, because I think he still is not quite sure about Abby. I think he likes her, but maybe he doesn't want anyone to know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cute. He's
got some things to figure out. He's a very awkward kid, but he'll get there. It's okay.
Yes.
There's hope for Aaron yet. Maybe. Yes. We'll see.
I think so. He likes dinosaurs. That's good enough for me.
Yeah. Raptor Bash.
I love the relationship that he had with Katie, that they were so close. They had their own almost language at times, and I love how she fostered that creativity and being different in her brother. Mm-hmm. Like, making him feel like he could be whoever he wanted to be. Because she didn't really... I don't think she felt like she had that, and I think she wanted to give him that opportunity.
Yeah, it's very subtle.
Feel supported.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but that line, where he's drawn that picture of Abby, and then she mentioned, oh, you like the Posey girl, and he immediately rips it up and gives it to Monchi, and she tells him, like, don't be afraid of being who you are. Like, nothing good ever comes from hiding who you are.
Yeah, agreed. I think that is a lesson that we all could take from this movie. Mm-hmm. Be who you are. Yeah.
So we see, the whole movie, he's pretty nervous about his sister leaving because of that relationship they have. He's, they're a raptor pair, and with her leaving the herd, it's hard for him. Especially as socially awkward as he is, and doesn't really know how to function. She's always kind of been there as that helping hand, and so he's terrified to be on his own. Yeah. But he's working through it. Working through it. It's another part of the growth. Yeah. Going through change sometimes is not comfortable, but it can be a good thing, depending on how you look at it. Yeah. Let's see. So that is all that I really have on Katie in a broad spectrum of things, but I don't know. Do you have any more? I loved that she brought up these ways that Rick didn't play it safe, because at one point he wanted to play things safe when they were at the dino shop. Mm-hmm. And she's talking about, oh yeah, we had that possum named Gus. That's when we all got rabies. Yeah. But we're immunized. We're all better for it now. I thought that was so funny. Let me see if I have anything else. No, I think that is all I have on Katie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess really the only thing I know I have a note about it, but not under her, because I think I'm talking more about kind of how it affected Aaron, but is, yeah, with that speech of playing it safe, where she really amps her dad up, and then with Aaron being happy to see her doing that, and for her to just disclose that she wasn't sincere about any of it, that she's just saying what he wants to hear, and she's just ready, she just wants to get a plan in action so they can do something about it so she can get away from them. And to see the hurt that causes him, because again, it's that he easily will feel abandoned by her in this time, and that's kind of another little blow to him to be like, oh, you just want to leave us, okay, you know.
Well, and it's another time. It's the time that Pal uses those to her advantage. She uses all of that to her advantage, and so the timing could not be worse. Because they're trying to get on, they're on this ship and trying to get up to the rhombus. The rhombus. I mean, it was called the rhombus of infinite subjugation.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. Pal, yeah, she was a smart one. She knew when to take things and use them against people.
Yeah. So, Rick would be the next to see if I have any extra notes. Just, again, the outdoor nature nut with two very nerdy kids, so he's kind of the outsider in his own unique family. And again, voiced by the amazing Danny McBride. I've been binging through the Righteous Gemstones, so it is quite a trip hearing Danny McBride as a wholesome character. Yeah. Because he is definitely not wholesome in that show.
No, he's definitely... I think he was the right person to voice this, though. I feel like he was a good match for Rick.
Yeah.
And the thing that bugged me, though, is he and Katie are grabbing her laptop, and then it flies off, and it basically breaks because of him. And then his way of solving this issue is to cancel her flight and do a road trip. I would have just said some really bad words and been really angry. But Linda tells him at that time, you know, that he needs to take responsibility for things, and said, if that girl leaves and never comes home again, that's a problem I don't think we can fix. So she was really trying to get through to him. Yeah. Because I think they're both a little bit stubborn.
Oh, yeah. And then let's see if there's any more notes. I think I kind of covered most of his. Him having the challenge of getting Katie's videos to play on the big screens.
He kept hitting the wrong things.
Hitting all this stuff. Having the update pushed back 5 minutes and then changing the language to Spanish. Finding his way through some J-pop videos and some other strange videos. Deregulate tapioca. He was having
he had
a bad time.
That was a struggle. He also is not any better at technology now, even though he's a legend in his own mind when it comes to technology, because he's really not. He sends a note to his daughter asking her to be a friend, and she thought it was some creepy person that did it.
Right. Yeah, he finally manages to add her as a friend on, follow her account on YouTube. And it was only one broken keyboard and 12 Swiffer orders through Amazon later. He figured it out.
I mean, a Swiffer for every room.
Yeah.
Why not? I like where we left their relationship at the end of the movie, where they had come together and they just have a much better, tighter relationship. Because I think they did find some common ground, and the shared experience of the rope apocalypse probably didn't hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have any other notes about anybody. I've covered Linda, I've covered Aaron. Other characters that I kind of have talked about the Posies. Mark Bowman, an interesting, the CEO of PAL. Eric Andre, a lot of fun there. This classic motif of a young tech mogul who has no thought or care about his actions, just trying to get bigger and better with the things. which that causes him to dump his previous smart AI phone for the new robots, and they're immediately hijacked by the vengeful program of Pal and turned evil right after he said they definitely won't turn evil.
Yes.
So
he was so excited about the robots, too, because they would clean up messes and they would make breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And they dance.
I mean, I kind of wish it'd be nice to have a couple of them hanging around here at my apartment as well.
Oh my goodness.
Man,
yeah.
Just the cleaning and the cooking. That's great.
Yes.
I'm all on board right
there. Me too. It would take a lot of the extra things off my plate.
I promise I would be nice to them. I promise.
Pal, I don't blame her.
Mm-hmm.
But because she had all this inside knowledge of being that program on everyone's phone, so she knew that, your mother calls and you never answer 90% of the time. Like all of these things that none of us really think about.
Yeah.
That it had access to everything. And so it knew. It just didn't feel like the humans were worth saving.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm always careful with smart technology. When I'm talking to Siri or Alexa, always end it with please.
I don't know that I do that, but I don't access them that often. But I do remember that once I think it was Alexa infiltrated the podcast.
Yeah,
for no reason.
That stays unplugged when we're recording now.
Technology is a wonderful thing. We've already established that both of us like it, so yeah. I remember. I do remember when Alexa just popped in.
Mm-hmm. Had her own thoughts about the movie, I guess.
Yeah, she did. I don't remember what movie it was, but she definitely had some thoughts.
But yeah, I think that might be all the notes. I'm making sure. And it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's all I have, too.
Awesome.
That's everything. Yeah.
Man, that was fun to talk about. I love this movie a lot, and I was very excited to cover it. I remember watching it because it was part of when the Oscar nominees first came out. It's one that I hadn't gotten around to. I'd heard many great things, and then once it was nominated for Best Animated, it was very high on the list of immediate. All right, I do my Oscar. I try to watch as many Oscar nominees every year when they come out. It was, I think, the second one that I watched once I started to watch, because I was like, yeah, it's high on the list already. I've heard many great things. And I did. I fell in love with it. And then I was like, after watching it, I was like, this fits right. This is right in the alley of Run for Your Lives. We need to talk about it. And then it kind of timed out perfectly that we record it right after Oscars happened. Again, unfortunately, it didn't win. I'm not really upset because it was pretty obvious Encanto was going to win, but
but I feel like it got a lot of attention, and there is a huge fandom around it. Yeah. There are passionate fans who believe in it for some pretty great reasons. Mm-hmm. There's a lot about it that stands out.
So yeah. Well, if we are done talking about the movie as far as breaking down our notes and stuff, I know you still have some fun behind-the-scenes trivia tidbits that you always dig and find, and I'm always excited to see what you come up with.
Well, this week is no exception. I have some good ones. So the concept for this movie comes from Rianda himself, combining the thing he loves the most, his crazy family, and what he loved the most as a child, killer robots. He pulled a lot of the character behaviors from his own family. And I liked at the end of the movie, they took you through the people involved with the movie and showed you their pictures.
Yeah.
Like different pictures. I really liked that. It was a cool touch to connect you even more to the movie because you could see the people that worked on it. So the film was previously titled Control Alt Escape. Then it was The Mitchells versus the Machines. Then it was changed to Connected. And then when Netflix purchased it, they reverted the title back to The Mitchells versus the Machines, which I think is the best title.
Yeah.
I think it really works. So Sony Pictures Imageworks handled the animation, which is the same as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. but Rianda assembled a team of animators who were new and not impacted by outside influences. The crew included recent graduates, as well as those from the TV world, and it gave them an opportunity of doing live action, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, and mixing it all together.
Yeah.
According to producer Christopher Miller, much of the tech that was used for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was reused for the Mitchells versus the Machines. And the director wanted this hand-painted watercolor style look for the film. They also had created some new tools. However, unlike Into the Spider-Verse's comic book style, Mitchells vs. the Machines mostly used 2D style effects to copy the look of traditional animated movie. This included the use of squiggles for fur and watercolor brushstrokes for elements such as trees and bushes. Monchi the dog originally was going to be voiced by a professional voice actor. Instead, they got Doug the pug, who's a popular pug, which is perfect because that's the breed of dog that Monchi was.
Yeah.
So it was I found that really cool. Aaron's porta potty line, false alarm, I was just in there reading, was originally about him not ever washing his hands. However, with COVID-19, they decided to change that up. Rianda also provided the voice of Aaron Mitchell, as well as a talking dog, the Furbies, a giant Furby, and a Wi-Fi enthusiast. Aaron was originally going to be voiced by an actual child actor, but Rianda decided to take on the role himself. The Posies, who are the neighbors to the Mitchells, are voiced by a real-life married couple, John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. Mm-hmm. Instead of a toaster, a jumping toy puppy was considered to be the first corrupted appliance to confront the Mitchells, but they decided to go with the toaster.
Which, you're toast. So
yeah,
good.
That was so cool. And then the arrow. Oh. Mm-hmm. So Pal seems similar to Hal, who was the computer in 2001: A Space Odyssey. They both have a single red eye. And of course, we've already talked about Pal is voiced by Olivia Colman. I think she knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. She's fantastic. It took 7 attempts to contact Hasbro before permission was given for the use of Furbies in the movie. Tickle Me Melmo with an eye patch was going to be their alternate.
That would have been something else.
Yes. Something else.
Probably
sure.
would have been just as equally terrifying. I could just imagine. Oh no, we're all doomed.
But they were able to finally. They kept pushing until they finally. Most people probably would have given up after 2 or 3 attempts, but they just really kept pushing.
I'm glad they went with it. Yeah, because
me
Furbies
too.
were a great touch.
Oh my gosh, just crazy. The final battle was supposed to take place, or originally was going to take place in Las Vegas, but they changed it up. And one other thing I learned about this movie that I thought was really interesting is one of the animators that was working on it, her name is Lizzie Nichols. And when she started working on it, she started realizing that Katie was not straight. Like, she wasn't a straight character. Mm-hmm. So she talked to Rianda and Ro about it, and they kind of agreed. She wrote a letter to the Sony studio executives and explaining what she was thinking. And because she had understood this about Katie earlier, so she wrote this letter and said she wanted to be part of a movie and the studio was on the right side of history. She even signed the letter with her own name, despite being scared, because she said it was worth fighting for. It was a huge opportunity for Sony to choose to make Katie LGBTQ. Mm-hmm. But I read the letter that she wrote, and it was incredible. Yeah. So I thought this was really cool because it's not something that you see a lot of, and I love the way that they included it because it's literally, I mean, she wears the little rainbow button on her jacket throughout the movie,
And there's a couple little things in some of the animations and transitions. But then, yeah, it's just that little line at the end, where her mother, which again, I need to give some love to
Maya Rudolph.
to Maya Rudolph for, I've named a lot of the actors and actresses in this, but man, yeah, I gotta give some love to her too, because she's great. But yeah, it's just that little line when they're Skyping or on Zoom or whatever, where it was just, are you and Jade an item yet? Like, tell me y'all are official and you're bringing her home for Thanksgiving. And then that's literally it. Yeah. Where it's definitely her character and who she is, but it's not the defining thing about her character. It's not a stereotype. It's
not
just,
at all.
It's an understated thing of just, this is who she is and it's normal because that's the way it should be represented in movies, because that's the way it is in life, is it's just normal. It's who she is. It should be understated or, just part of the quo, because that's, because people are that way. And, there are people who love different people or people of the same gender or different people or non-binary. And it doesn't have to be a big deal because
it doesn't. It's
just natural. That's just who people are. And we're all living life together. And
yes, agreed.
So to make that her character, but then not stick this big, label on it and try to make a big deal out of it. Just be like, yeah, that's who she is. And that's normal because it's normal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Normalizing
I love it.
Is a powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so impactful. And I agree with you. I really like the way that they did it in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I said, it was one of the last things that I found out when I was putting my notes together. And I just really wanted to bring it up because I think I want to shine a light on it because it's not a common thing in animated films. And for someone who's involved with the film to take a leap of faith to try to stand up for what she felt was important with this character was huge. Mm-hmm. And then the way that they put it, that they brought it to life and normalized it was just, it was just perfect. And it made me love this movie even more because it wasn't over the top. Right. It was just subtle, but it was there the entire time. But it didn't matter because the only thing that mattered is we were talking about a family who were trying to reconnect together and fight some robots.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the focus, not a character's sexuality.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I really want to see Rianda and Ro do something again together because I think they've got some magic there and I'm in if they do another film.
Totally.
I want to see what they do.
Oh yeah. See, I'm getting you on board with all these like more animated movies, broadening the horizons just a little bit. Find some great stuff. There's some great stuff. Coraline's on the docket for sometime soon. I know it. Got to do it.
It is. But I feel like I've also broadened your horizons because you've seen some movies that you never would have seen before.
Definitely.
And I like that we both can bring films to the table and expand what we look for in a movie. I would not have watched this if we weren't covering it. I probably wouldn't have because it wasn't really on my radar.
Yeah.
And now I have seen a movie that to me is groundbreaking and was fun to watch. And I laughed a lot and I did get teary at one point because you grow to care about these characters.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're animated or not, doesn't matter. You connect to them anyway.
Yep. Love it.
I hope we get some feedback. I want to know what people think.
Definitely. Especially if maybe we put it out into the universe a little bit for some listeners with kids to see what they thought about watching this with families or stuff. Who knows? So we're going to have to answer this, see what they say.
Yes, absolutely. Better get it.
Okay, so I checked the feedback phone after it rang, and all it was somebody calling about a extended warranty for my car or something. So,
oh my gosh, don't you hate that?
Yeah, it's the worst. So that's really all that there was. And then the voicemail was empty after that. So I don't know. They left us hanging high and dry this week. No Mitchells versus the Machines. I don't know what's going on. I guess everybody just loved this movie so much that they were speechless. And
they
were just they just didn't know what to say and they love us so much, and they're like, I nothing I can say is going to be as good as what Daphne and Pake broke down this movie because they're the best and they're incredible. I'm just assuming that's what people were thinking. So
okay, well that could be true. Also know that our listeners like to submit feedback after an episode comes out, so we may get something next week.
Hint, hint.
Especially when we tell them what movie we're covering next week.
Yeah, nothing this week, but hopefully you guys can come through and give us some fun stuff for next week. Watch the movie. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you thought about our coverage of it if you listen to this episode. We love our feedback, and then when I don't get it, I get all itchy. So I need it.
He misses it. He really misses feedback when we don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have forgotten how to submit your feedback, you can do so by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/runforyourlivespodcast. You can email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at us on Twitter at RFYL Podcast, or DM us on Instagram at runforyourlivespodcast. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to tell your friends. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and pretty much all other podcast players, including YouTube. Go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links you'll ever need, and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that's the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do, always. And of course, speaking about sharing the love, gotta, share what's going on in the podcast universe around us with other stuff going on. My other podcast, which I'm kind of not on full time right now, but it is coming back, and I will jump in when I can. I'm catching up. But Strange Indeed is very soon, because as you're hearing this, the new episodes have dropped. The 29th right here. So Ozark, the back half of season 4. So the final 7 episodes of Ozark. I know Wendy and I think Rima and some other rotating guests. I'm going to try to pop in there once I catch up. I'm in the first half of season 4 right now, so I'm getting there. I'll catch up soon.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
You have watched a lot to get to that point. Last I knew, you were only on season 2.
Yeah, no, I've been on my binge game the past couple weeks, getting there. So yeah,
that will be great.
If you're a fan of Ozark, definitely check out Strange Indeed soon, like next week. Within this next week, they should have. Well, they already have a recap of seasons 1 through 4A up that went up this week, and then they will start covering the new episodes this next week. Now that they are out today, so be on the lookout for that.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of discussion out there in the universe about Ozark, because it seems to be a very popular show that I'm not watching.
You should. It's very good. Very good. Speaking of another very, very good dark show that is ending and in its final season right now, over on House Podcastica, they are covering the final season of Better Call Saul. So, yes, Jason,
it was a rough one
Rima,
this week.
and David are covering over there. So yeah, check that out as well. They are going full spoiler for Breaking Bad. So if you are one of the really strange, weird people who has not watched Breaking Bad but is watching Better Call Saul, Daphne, Steve, then warning. But if you watched Breaking Bad and loved it, like me or so many other people, and also are watching Better Call Saul and loving that, check out their coverage over on House Podcastica. And then also on House Podcastica and on the Yellow Jackets WTF podcasts, they're wrapping up their Yellow Jackets rewatch now, actually, is kind of what it is. They're going back and recovering a lot of the whole first season. And they're at the finale this week.
Yeah.
Penny, and it says other guests, so I don't know who's on that for that one.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who's going to join her. I heard a rumor that Lucy was going to podcast with her.
Ooh, that was good. That would be
good. Had so much fun podcasting with Lucy. We did a Women of Podcastica episode and earlier this season, and I really enjoyed it. So Penny's going to have a blast with Lucy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so much great Podcastica stuff going on, because also House Podcastica is like the big umbrella podcast. So if you follow that, you'll get all of these shows, or then you can look at the Yellow Jackets one or Moon Knight specifically. It has its own podcast, or it's on House Podcastica. They're also covering that. Jason and Kirk Manley are covering that. And it's so freaking good.
Did you happen to see the podcast or the Moon Knight art that Kirk made for the first episode?
Yes, it's incredible because
one
of the co-hosts of that episode is Kirk Manley, which, if the name does sound familiar to you, he is an incredible like graphic artist, and he does all kind of comic book and different like kind of nerdy TV shows and movies, like art and pictures. But like the stuff with that, and it's great. He does a lot of convention circuits. If you've ever been to like Fandemic and Walker Stalker when it was a thing, and all kinds of, and then even outside of that, a bunch of just different like C2E2 and all that kind of stuff. He's there, and he is got a booth, and he does incredible artwork. So check out. I think he's at studiokm.com. Give him a.
I believe so. Yeah.
Give him a plug. So good. And more starting this week. I think it's supposed to drop today. If I'm correct on that, you might don't take my word for it, but I think today. Alex and Lizzie are covering the Epix series From. The first season is done and out, but they're going back and covering it one episode at a time, one a week. I think Lizzie's seen the whole thing, and Alex is going week to week watching it for the first time. So I've only watched the first episode so far, and I'm dying to hear that episode. I'm so ready to check out what they have to say about that.
I watched episode 6 today, and I just think it gets better and better every episode. I can't go week to week on this one.
It was hard for me not to start the second episode the second the first one ended, but
it's so hard. So hard. I feel like I do it pretty well with Strange Indeed, and like with the Umbrella Academy or Lock and Key, did a great job going week to week. I just can't with this one. So I'll just listen every week and hear what they have to say. But I know they're recording this week, and hopefully by the weekend, the episode will be up and everyone can hear it. I know that Alex has been really excited about it. So hopefully that will be up for everyone to enjoy. From was just renewed for season 2. So there's even more excitement around it.
Nice. And then I think finally on the Podcastica front, Walking Dead cast, of course, even though Walking Dead is back on its between mid-seasons, which like trimester, like that's what they're calling them. There's like 3 parts this time. But again, they're kind of between the 2 parts. But Lucy and Jason did interview Josh Hamilton, who is the wonderful Lance Hornsby on The Walking Dead this season. So they did an interview with him, and it is awesome. He's so much fun to listen to, and it's cool to listen to them really kind of nerd out with him and see some of the stuff that he says. It's really cool. So definitely check that out. And if you are a Patreon member, a Patreon supporter of Jason and Deadcast and the whole Podcastica thing, if you are one of the few people braving the new or like the back half of this season of Fear the Walking Dead, they are covering it as a Patreon exclusive because they're just having fun crapping on it. And so if you're one of the few people who is still watching it and is okay with, if you're one of the few people who is watching it and you're okay with it being ripped to shreds, then definitely join the Patreon because those are going to be fun to listen to.
I know. I feel like I can't watch it. So
I haven't watched it since it came back. I will not put myself through it after that first half of the season. I'm done.
No,
there's no reason.
Not good. So I will probably just listen to the episode so I'll know maybe what's going on. Mm-hmm. But that will be it. Because I'm a diehard Walking Dead fan. I loved The World Beyond, especially season 2. And, the flagship show has been really wonderful.
Yeah.
This season, but I just can't bring myself to watch it, so I'll just listen and learn what's going on.
Right. It's probably more entertaining to listen to them talk about the episode than watch the episode.
I think so. It's too bad because the actors are all really great.
Yeah, I've met a few of them, and they're all so kind and so awesome, and I feel for them.
Yeah. It could be so much better, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. All right, and then in the Pirate Core world, there's a lot of plugs this week. I know we didn't get feedback, so I'm making it up with telling you all the other podcasts that you have to listen to now to make up for not giving us feedback.
Yeah, there's tons. It's a busy week in Podcastica and Ben's network, Next Level Radio, as well as TV Podcast Industries and Pirate Core. It's busy. It's busy. Mm-hmm. Lots of good TV to talk about.
So again, Moon Knight on House of Podcastica, but also Panels to Pixels on Pirate Core covering Moon Knight, and TV Podcast Industries are also covering Moon Knight as well. And Picard Season 2 for the Trekkies out there on TV Podcast Industries. And then with Pirate Core Adrenaline Cinema this week, Mark and Megan are talking about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yes, I'm interested to listen to that one because they've been talking about it for a while and they finally have recorded it and it's available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's classic. Adrenaline Cinema is great on a lot of the really classic action movies, and Indiana Jones. Temple of Doom is a great way to go. And I know with Megan, that's going to be a fun one, so check that out.
It definitely is.
And lastly, we finally made it to the end of the plugs for other podcasts. You mentioned Ben. His podcast, Wilhelm, is coming back soon. He's been kind of on a little break, a little hiatus, because he has been busy with conventions and panel moderating and running all kinds of things in different cities. But he's finally calmed down a little bit, and he's bringing Wilhelm back. He's going to be back on the air. And so he's going to be sharing a kind of special episode, talking about what he's been up to during the break, with some special surprises. Maybe he's got, some things hinting towards some things coming in the future. So, you'll have to tune in and see what Ben's got for you over on Wilhelm.
Yes, absolutely.
But finally, if we're going to plug one more thing, it's going to be the best podcast out of all of those, in my own extremely biased opinion.
Oh, my goodness.
What's going on next week right here on Run for Your Lives?
Okay, so after moving to a new town, a young girl who feels ignored by her parents unlocks a door to a seemingly perfect mirror world where everything is bright and beautiful. It's a sharp contrast from her regular life, but is it too perfect? For our Mother's Day special, we're unraveling the 2009 Leica film, Coraline. Be kind to your mother and your other mother, and let us know what you think of this great adaptation of Neil Gaiman's dark novella of the same name.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure in this episode that you're listening to right now, we said, we'll talk about Coraline eventually, but definitely not next week. We changed our mind. We're going to do it next week.
You know us. You know that we sometimes will, I don't know, we just decide things.
Yeah.
On the fly.
Really what it was, because we were like, we'll take a little break on animation, and they were like, no, wait.
No.
But when we were outside of recording, we were like, no, the next week's episode is Mother's Day. We have to release Coraline on Mother's Day weekend.
Yes,
it has to be done. So never mind. Scratch it.
So great. Looking forward to bringing you that one. Hope you enjoyed this one, but I'm really excited to bring you Coraline next week, because Pake and I we had such a great time recording it. So I'm looking forward to you guys getting to listen.
Yeah, Leica stuff. And I probably could save this until next week's feedback, but you know what? I might. I've got Leica news. You could probably just Google it and see what Leica is up
I
to.
saw the Leica news.
But there's Leica news. So you know what?
Yes.
I'm just going to tease it this week. And then if you want to look it up, you can find all the fun stuff. But if you're a Leica fan and listening to the Coraline episode, I'll give you the scoop on the feedback then.
All right. That sounds good. And with that, we've reached the end of another terrifying yet fun episode. Thanks everyone for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run from a psychotic pal, her robot minions, a pack of wild vacuums, and an army of Furbies who are thwarting your plans to save the world, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.